Hello everybody, how you doing? Hope you've all had a good week and you got that Friday feeling. The Friday before the World Cup starts, this sham of a World Cup, I won't go into it too much, but the Premier League, pretty much all of European top flight football has stopped for the World Cup due to take place in Qatar. Starts on Sunday, first game Qatar versus Ecuador. I'm not going to cover England too much on this channel purely because, I'll get into it once it starts, but with everything surrounding that World Cup, I'm simply not that interested, to be honest. Today's video, now that we're at this forced winter break because of the World Cup, I want to do a little bit of a mid-season review of Spurs' season, cover what's gone right, what's gone wrong, and what we can expect from the rest of the season. So, yeah, heading into the season, obviously our first full pre-season with Antonio Conte at the helm. I take it you all saw the videos coming out when we did our pre-season tour of South Korea. You know, the players literally throwing up and not passing out, but collapsing to the ground with exhaustion with the full pitch shuttle runs that Conte and, all of his fitness coaches were making the guys do. But that's what you get with Antonio Conte. He is one of the hardest, one of the strictest fitness-driven football coaches in the world, arguably. Obviously, with the late Gianpiero Ventroni, he used to work them very, very hard, and by all accounts, Conte is still working them hard. So, yeah, very important that we got that first full pre-season in with Antonio Conte to really stamp his mark on this side. And how's it gone so far? Well, I'm going to keep looking over this way because I made some notes. You'll have to excuse me. So far this season, after 15 games, we're fourth in the Premier League. Top four, can't really complain. We've won 9, drawn 2 and lost 4. We're on 29 points. Compared to last season, I thought that we'd be doing a lot better than last season. But actually, this time last year, after 15 games, Spurs had won 8, drawn 2 and lost 5 with 26 points. So we've only got 3 more points than last year. And, obviously that includes a full Conte pre-season. Now, a lot has happened this season already. Let's start it with the signings in the summer. Obviously, Conte and Fabio Paratici, the director of football, technical director, I'm not entirely sure of his title, but they headed into pre-season knowing what they wanted and they flew out of the traps, really. I think a lot of Spurs fans were very surprised at how quickly Spurs acted. In the end, they signed, from what I can remember, 6 players. Fraser Forster, the goalkeeper, Yves Bissouma from Brighton, the defensive midfielder, Ivan Perisic, very, very highly rated left wing back, bags of experience at international and club level, Jed Spence, the Championship right back of the year last season, Richarlison, the striker that kept Everton in the Premier League for 60 million quid last year, and Clement Longley, the left-footed centre-half who plays for Barcelona, who we got on loan. Let's discuss them signings. All in all, somewhat of a mixed bag. I'd give it probably a 6.5 to a 7 out of 10, I'd say. Fraser Forster hasn't had a look in because of Hugo Lloris. Lloris is the club number 1, so you'd expect him not to get that many games. Yves Bissouma has spent most of the time on the bench, but has slowly started to make his mark in the team when Conte has switched a formation to a 3-5-2 and has looked pretty decent so far. I know that Conte has said a few bits and bobs in his presses about how it's taken Bissouma a little bit longer to adapt to the tactical demands of a player in his system. Ivan Perisic has been very, very good, especially in the Champions League games. I think he's been excellent. He's been rotating a little bit with Ryan Sessegnon, but his versatility and his fitness and his experience, Perisic, has been very, very handy at the back. Jed Spence hasn't had a look in whatsoever. It was clear it's not an Antonio Conte signing. Very, very disappointing. We've not seen more of him given how poor Emerson Royale and Matt Doherty have been this season. I will fully expect to see him go out on loan in January, but we'll see what happens. Richarlison, been pretty disappointing, to be fair. Yes, okay, he's been injured for a little bit of it, but, he was brought in to take the pressure off of Son and Kane a little bit in regards to goals, and he has not done that. Yes, okay, he's a bit of a, I won't swear, but a bit of a bleep house. A lot of people call him. But we'll see what happens to that. Obviously, he's gone to Brazil with the World Cup, which was a bit of a shock. And Clement Longley, I think Longley's been all right, to be fair. I know that he divides the fan base, but I actually think he's quite a good centre half, especially with him being left-footed. I think he's done all right. So they were the signings, very much a mixed bag. I know for a fact, well, I don't know for a fact, I don't know Conte, but it's pretty clear that Conte wants a right back and an attacking midfielder. Spurs have been linked with Atalanta's Ruslan Malinovsky. I've butchered his name, but the Ukrainian attacking midfielder, very, very highly regarded. So we'll see if we can go after him. And yeah, as in regards to a right back, I mean, I'll do a better job at right back than Emerson Royale and Matt Doherty this year, to be honest. Neither of them have been good whatsoever, and I think that Conte knows that, but he's got to stick with one of them, and he's got through to that break now, where he can hopefully, try and go and get out on someone. Will he wait until summer to go big and go for a loan in December? Who knows? In January, sorry, who knows? But yeah, interesting one in regards to the signings. Obviously, in regards to competitions, like I say, fourth in the Premier League at the moment, still well in the hunt. I think that Newcastle doing so well has added a bit of a spanner in the works as to who will finish in that top four. Obviously, Liverpool didn't get off to a very good start at all. City and Arsenal have pulled away a little bit. I mean, I'm on my knees praying that Arsenal don't win the Premier League, but it's probably the closest it's been for a very, very long time, that top four. Obviously, Chelsea have got Potter. They're struggling as well. Man United are hanging on in there as well. So it'll be very interesting to see if Spurs get in there. So that'll be interesting. The Champions League, obviously, we got through in the end. It was very, very close for a very long time, that group, with us, Sporting Lisbon, Eintracht Frankfurt and Marseille. But we topped the group, which was crucial. And we have got AC Milan in the knockouts in the last 16, which I think is not a bad draw whatsoever for Spurs, to be honest. I think that they're not one of the weaker teams, because obviously you've got to go to the San Siro, which is not an easy game whatsoever. But Spurs could have done a lot worse, and I fancy us. I mean, Chelsea, who are well undercooked, beat them 3-0 at Stamford Bridge. But they are a good side. They've got some good players like Rafael Leao, Sandro Tonali, a few others as well. So don't write them off, but Spurs have done all right in that draw, I think. Of course, out of the Carabao Cup, not really bothered, to be honest. I know that some Spurs fans take it very seriously. Obviously, we got knocked out to Nottingham Forest a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, it's the one where Spurs, if they really went for it, they could win it, but it's the lowest priority trophy that they're going for this season, so it's not too bad. Of course, FA Cup is still to come. That will take place in January, the third round. Spurs enter it in the third round, so we'll see what happens there. Would love us to win that, but we'll see how Conte rates it. But yeah, it's been interesting, hasn't it? The first half of this season, obviously, the one main thing, apart from right back, that we've been struggling with is getting off to a good start. I mean, some of the first halves that Spurs have played in this season have been absolutely atrocious. They've been so poor. And it's given us so much work to do in the second half of games. I think that, I think it might have been TalkSport or Sky Sports were saying the other day that Spurs in their last 5 Premier League games have gone behind in every single game, which will be driving Antonio Conte absolutely mental. There's so much work still to do. But he knows that, and it's just whether, moving on to my next point, he fancies the challenge of staying. There has been talk. I made a video a couple of weeks ago now about this contract offer that's been swirling around for a couple of months now. Will Daniel Levy and Fabio Paratici build the club around what Antonio Conte is demanding? Obviously, he's the second highest paid manager in the Premier League behind Pep Guardiola. Rumour he's on about 15-20 million a year, so he's on massive money, Conte, and he knows what he wants and he demands it in the media, to the board, everywhere. He wants players. He wants you to go out and get the best that money can buy. And it's whether the club back him. And if he feels like the club will back him, then he'll sign a new contract. But it needs to be good for both parties. And heading into the second part of the season, I wonder, what will sway him either way, because it's not just, we had Europa Conference League football last season and he signed with us. So I don't think the European competition is important straight away. I think it's the ambition that the club shows. So, yeah, overall, first half of the season, I'd probably give it a 7.5 out of 10, maybe, because end of the day, we're still in the top four running and we're through as group winners of the Champions League. It's just the cracks are there a little bit with the performances, but in a World Cup year, this unprecedented World Cup year, this was always going to happen. So let's see what happens in the second half of the season. If we can finish top four and maybe get into the real deep stages of the Champions League in regards to minimum quarterfinals, maybe semi-finals, that would be brilliant. And I'll be really happy with that. Obviously, would love to win the FA Cup, but can't win them all, can you? So let me know what your thoughts are. First half of the season for Spurs. Try and enjoy the World Cup. If I feel like making some videos about England and any big moments that occur, I will. But don't hold your breath because it's a shambles of a tournament. They banned beer there today, didn't they? 2 days before the tournament's due to start. It's just I'm reading the highlight. I watch that FIFA documentary and I read all the headlines around it, and I just shake my head and I just can't believe what's going on there. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Until next time. Enjoy the tournament and I'll see you soon. Enjoy your weekend. See you later. Cheers, guys. Bye.